Okay, guys, coming to you today with the concept, just basic mesh concept. Okay, so as we look at a mesh concept, we're going to talk out again how we're going to read this thing. Okay, how you'll be instructed to read this thing, and then what you should be looking for on any traditional mesh concept. Okay, so as we talked about in the previous concept, you're going to have that deep route, which is an alert. So that post, the Z, is a quarters alert for you. Okay, this is going to turn into an inside triangle read, is what we call these concepts. Okay, or an inside high low. Basically, you have the drag, the dig, and the drag all forming a triangle here in the middle of the field. Okay, that's an inside triangle. You'll see a lot of different concepts and a lot of different ways to get to that inside triangle. This one specifically, we're working the outside post on an alert. Okay, that's obviously for quarters in a good D&D situation. So again, 1st and 10, 2nd and short, somewhere where you have an opportunity to, catch the defense in an advantageous situation because it's not 3rd and 3 and you're pressing and now I have to complete a 50-yard post in order to get a conversion. Like, it just wouldn't be smart situational football. So as I read this thing out, for me, where do you think my eyes start? So as you look at this, where do you see my eyes starting in this progression? Okay. The big thing, again, we go to depths of routes. Like the drags is going to be one of those routes. Now, what's tough about drags is they have to work across the field, right? So that's going to be a difficult first read, just in terms of your eyes are going to have to hold them. So what I want you to do is hold them with your eyes out here to this post. I want you to look at that field flat. Okay. So the Z's flat right in front of him here in this area of the field. By holding our eyes there, what we're going to do is we're going to pull any underneath zone defenders just naturally out into that area. So think of the nickel Sam out here, who would be somewhere around this F, right? And if our eyes get out here into the field flat, he's going to expand a little bit because he doesn't know through 10 yards what the Z is doing. So he's going to expand. As he expands, now we come inside to this drag, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is notice how they're spotted up here, like there's that little dot. That means he can sit versus zone, right? In man coverage, he can stay on the run and keep going, okay? So what we're thinking here is we're thinking against zone coverage that we're going to push our eyes to the field, okay, and hold them out here to the flat. We're going to pull an outside linebacker out to that flat. Okay. Then inside, where do our eyes go? So think, if I just occupied the nickel Sam, right? If I occupied the nickel, then my eyes are now going to go inside to who in order to see if they jump the drag. It's the Mike linebacker. Okay. So once again, you have the Mike linebacker sitting here, a 3-by-1 formation. He'll be pre-snapped, aligned right here. He'll take his pass drop. He will see this drag coming across the field, and he has choices. Is he going to jump that route, or is he going to stick and play his zone? Okay. For the sake of completing this, let's talk out when we would throw it. As if he just dropped into his whole zone, okay, in the middle of the field, then what we would do is we would dump this ball to the drag, give him information. Remember, always giving the receiver information with our ball placement as to which side we wanted him to turn and run up the field. If I'm thinking that this guy expanded and he's in his zone, I'm going to put that ball on his right shoulder so that he can turn up the field right here. His left shoulder, my right shoulder as I look at it. Okay. If the Mike does jump that drag, then I come back inside to my dig. Okay. Who can take away the dig? Well, again, with the vertical release of the F all the way through at least 12 yards. Okay. This safety is going to get depth. This safety is going to get some depth with his eyes poaching back to this side. So we have to be aware of this backside safety, okay? The Y isn't going more than 10 yards vertical, so we're not going to hold him fully, but that would be a pretty incredible play for him to jump the dig across. So we're really looking at underneath defenders here. So as I look at the nickel Sam, he's gone. Now the Mike just jumped this, which is why I'm looking to the F. So the Mike jumps this. Now I look to the F. Who can become a part of this? Well, that's why the Will is here, okay? If the Will comes and tries to play that dig, then I come down to the back. Then if I have anybody else that carries over, I just have a check late, check wide out there for me to come through. So how we'd read this is we alert the Z, and we're reading this X to F to Y to H. It's a full field progression read. It's a mesh concept. It's really good for beating quarters, just in terms of you have great opportunities here to work underneath defenders and take a shot at this post potentially. And then also in man coverage, obviously we're looking for rubs here on those drag routes. Okay. This is a concept that you just have to be very patient with. Something that I talk about all the time with our guys is just understanding when you're going to complete that drag to the X. So our demeanor, selling everything to the field to hold defenders to the field or pull them to the field, ultimately to then just look at that Mike and see what he's doing with that first drag. From then on, you'll just work that inside triangle. But this is a basic concept, basic mesh concept in football. It's run all over the place. You know, drive is a lot of what it's called typically. Not necessarily always out of this formation with an attached tight end, but this is a drive concept. It's a basic drag dig concept, but it's mesh because we have the dragger coming from the other side. Hope that helps. I'm going to keep dumping all of these in here for you, and then ultimately I'm going to get video going with these two. Okay, I appreciate it.